Hey guys, I'm Kent and welcome back to my channel. So another video on my Honda SCL500. I actually saw an interesting comment in one of the other SCL500 videos that I did. Somebody mentioning that the reason that it's called the SCL500 in the US as opposed to the CL500 in the rest of the world is that Mercedes owns the CL500 trademark in the US, which makes a little bit of sense to me. When I search CL500 on Google, more often than not, I'm finding the Mercedes car rather than the bike. So anyway, interesting tidbit of information. But today I've got a install on the tachometer. So this motorcycle does not come with a tachometer, just like the Monkey. And while I can ride, and everybody can ride a motorcycle without a tach, I just like knowing where I am in that RPM band, particularly when I'm on the freeway and there's a lot of wind noise and you can feel the engine, but you can't hear it the same way. Just want to make sure that I'm not all the way at the top of the band, and it's just something that I like to be able to see while I'm riding. So I bought a kit from Daytona. This was from WeBike. I haven't actually unboxed it, I just broke open the top, but it's going to put a tachometer right next to the speedometer so that you can keep an eye on things. I'm assuming that the installation is going to be pretty easy. Quick unboxing, there's a cable, some bolts and instructions. The instructions look to be in Japanese. An actual bracket, and then this is the gauge itself. Disregard all the noise in the background. My neighbors are doing some fitness thing. Anyway, kind of a cool looking gauge. I feel like the font on the letters are somewhat old-timey. And I believe it also has some other information like a shift light. I'm not sure what the LCD displays, but we'll figure that out here in a moment. So I'm hoping that the installation is pretty simple. It looks like the gauge installs a couple of the bolts that go underneath the triple tree. And I'm assuming wiring is going to go to the coils, and we're going to have to find power. But let's get this on the bike. The kit comes with pretty good instructions. So it shows that we're going to have to take the tank off to access the coils. It shows that we're going to get into the relay box because we need to pop in a relay. You see, this is how to remove that plastic panel with the push-out pins. Looks like we're tapping into power from something that's coming off of the master cylinder. I think there may be an accessory there for USB charging. I'm hoping that that's also the case for my US model because I know sometimes there's some differences there. And then some information on how to mount it. I'm not sure if these pages are in order or not. Oh, they actually have page numbers at the top, so pay attention to that. And then how to mount the actual bracket, and then the gauge onto the bracket. Anyway, also my wife speaks and reads Japanese, so if I'm not able to figure this out myself, I'll, once she finishes with her fitnessing outside, get her to give me a hand. But I think the first thing that I'm going to do is pop off the tank, because I know I'm going to need to do that, and take off the seat as well so that I have access to all of the different wires that we're going to need to tap into. It looks like for the most part, though, this is all plug and play. At least per the instructions, it looks like everything, that there isn't any actual soldering or wire splicing that needs to be done, but we'll figure that out, and if so, we'll get that figured out too. So let me get the tank off and the seat off. The seat just pops off. The tank, there's just a bolt in the back, and then it shimmies out, and there's a quick release for the fuel. So this is just a 12mm socket for this bolt here in the back. And then you kind of lift up the back a little bit and just shimmy it out. And actually in this case, instead of unplugging it, because there's a couple of other hoses that I would have to remove as well that are kind of drain hoses, I'm going to see if I can't just turn it to the side to get access to the things that I need for now. The rag underneath so that it doesn't damage the finish on the frame. We'll see if that's good enough by, again, just angling it. I do have access to the two coils right here, which we're going to need to tap into. And then the other work is going to be here in the back near the relay box. And then I think there's something that I need to tap for power over here underneath the right handlebar. Also disregard the fact that I have no grips. I'm filming a couple of projects at once, and the grips that I had bought for the video to match my Takagawa seat cover didn't fit because I bought 1 inch instead of 7/8, so waiting for those to come in. Tofu, you gonna help out? All right, you stay there. So the bolt that I just took out from the triple tree that's holding one of the bolts for the speedometer here gets replaced with this bolt that comes in the Daytona kit, and also then this spacer goes on top for the difference in space to get clearance from this bracket. But this bolt, I think it'll actually be perfect to replace the one that I need here that used to go through, or that's needed for the turn signal that I don't have. I think that'll fit really well. The space is really tight, but I think I can get away with doing this without having to take off the headlight.
Are you recording?
Yeah, way to be in my film.
Oh.
Edit, edit, edit.
Yeah, edit.
Tofu's in the film too today. All right, so that went on pretty easy. Again, the bolt that came off, the stock bolt, ended up being perfect there for securing that vertical bolt. And I don't know if the lighting's showing, but the spacer in there then holds the rest of it. So we're just gonna mount the tach. It's gonna sit somewhere right there. So here's what it's gonna look like from the front of the bike. Everything's black, it looks pretty clean. I was also looking at the tachometer, but it comes in chrome or polished aluminum, and I didn't think would look as good, but this looks good from both the front and then from the driver's side view. This is what it looks like. I think that's looks pretty nice as a companion to the speedometer. So there's just this single wire that comes off of it that will loop under the triple tree, and then we just need to figure out how to disposition these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pins. All right, so now that we're getting to the wiring, just a little bit of demystifying what some of these instructions are. So these two lines say that they're coming from the vehicle side. This top one is black and white, this bottom one is black and green. This one here is red, and this one here in the middle in the diagram is red. And this one here is black. So this is to connect power, and then when we're connecting to the coil, it's connecting to the white lead that's coming off of the tachometer. So those are the color translations. All right, so after untaping this, you'll find 2 plugs, male and female, that goes into this harness. The harness also comes with some nice sheathing, so I'm gonna get those connected and then tape it against the wire that's already running down so that it's nice and clean. And then we'll connect power on this side to the tachometer. Okay, so I routed the extension cable where we pulled power from underneath the right handlebar here into the engine bay that goes underneath the tank. I also routed the cable that's coming from the tachometer down here too. I think we'll be able to neatly tuck the wires here once we're done. So red to red and black to black. The only other line that we're going to be using off of the harness here is this white one. The blue and green are actually accessory lines. There's buttons on the back of the tachometer for adjusting the settings and setting the time or other functions. I think we can also set where the RPM light flashes. But anyway, so not using blue or green, just need to use white to tap into the coils. And then I think we need to replace or add a relay in the fuse box, and then that's it. So, all right, here's a harness that comes with the kit to tap into the coil. These two here are going to be the pass-through, and then this one where we pull signal. It only comes with one, so I'm assuming we only need to tap into one coil. Again, I didn't remove the tank all the way for ease of not having to take off lines, but I'm gonna just try to pull this one off here and get this pass-through on and connected. And then white to yellow. Okay, and then last step should be popping in this relay that comes in the kit. The instructions show that there's an empty slot for it. I'm guessing that this is the relay that you're supposed to use if you're using whatever those plugs in the front should be, maybe for USB charging cable or something like that. To get access to the relays though, you need to pop out a few, or at least two of these little pins where you just push in and then it pops out. There's one on each side. And I think, oh, and there's two up here in the front too. This little red clip or plug seems to be just clipped in there. You can pop that out. Actually, this is probably the same on the Grom where you can use this to reset the ECU if you ever need to. Like, this pulls out. There we go. There was a little slot in the back there that I just stuck the screwdriver in and it popped out. And yep, there's a missing relay there. And this is also a Panasonic, has a different model number on it, but looks like it's just gonna slot right here. And I think that's it. So before we button everything up, let's just see if this works. Yeah, the fuel tank's still connected, everything's good. Turns on, sweeps. Cool. I'm assuming there's some setting that I need to put for this to be a 2-cylinder, but let's just try to fire it real quick. Garage door is closed, so I don't want to kill myself, but it seems to work. So let me get all the panels back on, the tank back on. When you put the tank back on, it just slots back in. I can actually show you here. It slots in onto these two little rubber notches, and you push it all the way up until you're able to align the bolt in the back. Let me get this buttoned up. We'll set up whatever we need to set up on the gauge itself, and then we'll go for a ride. Okay, so there's a set button here and the mode button. If you hold both together, it gets you into the options. There you can see PPR. Pressing mode once goes between shift or PPR. I'm going to press set again. Actually, I'm going to hold set on PPR to get into that PPR menu. And here you can see I'm under 1P2R, which is what I want to be for this particular bike. Pressing the mode button, you can cycle through the different options. But again, for this Honda SCL and CL500, 1P2R is what you want. So I'm going to go back and hold the set button for a couple of seconds. And then this screen, you can either see the max RPM that you hit or voltage, which I think is a more interesting thing to see. Anyway, getting back into the menu to adjust the shift point, holding both buttons together. It goes to PPR. I'm going to press the mode button to get to shift. I'm going to hold down the set button to get into that menu. And this is where you can adjust which shift point you want. Right now I have it set at 3500. Pressing the set button raises that. Pressing the mode button goes to the second variable, so you can be either at the 4000, at the 1000 or the 500 mark. I'm going to keep it here for now. I'm going to hold the set button, confirming 4500, and that's the entire setup. So again, disregard the fact that I have no grips. Should have them this afternoon, and that'll be part of another video that I'm doing. But the tachometer seems to be set up correctly. Sitting at about 4,000 RPM there, that definitely feels right. Again, still under the 300-mile break-in period. Don't want to be taking it up too high, but yeah, a really simple installation. Looking at it online, it looked a little bit intimidating. I saw a copy of the instructions, and with the 5 wires, I wasn't sure what those other 2 were going to, but in the end, it was just the 2 wires for the power and the 1 wire for the signal. Honestly, the same as it was for the Monkey. The mount that comes with this bike too is really nice. I really like the way that it's positioned. You can see that it's letting me know I'm supposed to shift. I don't know if you can see that red light or not, since I have it at 3500. And actually, the way the cable's positioned, I usually can't see that, so not that it really matters. I know when I need to shift. I just wanted to be able to keep an eye on my RPM on this bike. But again, I like the way that the mount works. I was considering fabricating my own mount. I actually did make a couple of copies. 3D printing it like I did for my original Honda Monkey, but this is a much cleaner, more OEM looking solution. So I'll link in the description below to this. I bought it off of WeBike. It was also relatively inexpensive. I think it was only about $100 or so. And yeah, definitely meets the need and I think matches the look. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, please throw them in the comments below. Otherwise, I'm going to enjoy this beautiful Saturday morning. Thanks everybody very much for watching. Stay tuned for more videos and keep on building.